I think one of the reasons that City resonated with people is that I think part of China sort of opening up over the last year and welcoming new tourists in, I think a lot of people are sort of embracing and trying to exemplify a more international Chinese culture than existed before. I think a lot of people, especially a lot of the demographic that picked up on City early on, I think were a lot of younger folks. And I think that the younger populations have lived in a very international type of China. And so having this English and Chinese phrase really kind of exemplifies, I think, the lifestyle that they oftentimes live, which is one that engages with the rest of the world. It's not just a Chinese thing. It's not just for Chinese people. Foreigners are also enthusiastic about what's going on in China. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of value of what it brings. China expanding the visa-free policy, I think, is kind of the big impetus behind seeing China travel sort of become a new thing. I mean, typically speaking, I've been in China now for 7 years, and I did a tourism master's here. And one of the big hurdles for a lot of travelers, especially from the US, is the visa policies. They're things that we're not typically familiar with. We're kind of spoiled oftentimes, from the US at least, with a lot of the travel that we do. And I've always made the argument that it's worth it. It's worth the time, the energy to come and see. But now there is an opportunity to see. There is really very little from like the administrative perspective blocking people from going and seeing. So that's naturally going to arouse a lot more curiosity. And one of the things that I got interested in with China was because of the fact that it is such a key international player. You hear so much about China on the news. It is such an important part of the world today. And so I think that that has definitely kind of come together to create a lot more interest into what China has to offer, not just from a business or political perspective, but also from a travel and pleasure perspective.